So let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about how Mavenoid partnered with Husqvarna to help them provide instant and personalized product support to customers across the globe. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that Mavenoid have helped Husqvarna to overcome, what the results has been, but also touch a little bit on about how Husqvarna and the team is working with Mavenoid on a daily basis. And if you have any questions at any point, please put them in the Q&A section, and we'll come back to them at the end of the webinar. Before we get into the discussion, I wanted to introduce myself and tell us a little bit about Mavenoid. My name is Johan. I'm a solution lead here at Mavenoid. I've been with Mavenoid for 4 years, and I'm part of the founding team. Mavenoid is a leading provider of AI-powered product support solutions. We help hardware companies of all sizes improve their product support by automating support needs, like technical troubleshooting, how-tos, which spare part to buy, and so forth. We're marrying this seamlessly with live support functionalities. For this, we use state-of-the-art machine learning algorithms to provide fast, accurate, personalized support to customers across these channels. And yes, we do include GPT-4 and ChatGPT in our stack. And today, I'm thrilled and honored to have joined here by Jonas Sjölund, Product Manager for Digital Customer Support Solutions at Mavenoid, at Husqvarna. Jonas' role resides within Husqvarna Forest and Garden division, which is one of 4 divisions within Husqvarna Group that we work with today. Jonas, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Johan, for inviting me today. I work as a product owner for the tools that we are using in our online self-service support directly to end users. I have had the privilege to work for Husqvarna for 13 years, whereof the last 2 years in this role, developing our capabilities to provide support directly to end users.
Cool. Thanks for that, Jonas. And I thought here we would just start with a little bit of context, I guess almost historical context by now, to give the audience a little bit of feel of where we come from. So since the early days of Mavenoid, the company, Husqvarna has been a partner. And me personally have been involved in this collaboration since I joined Mavenoid in 2019. And I do remember these sort of initial rollout where we were only focusing on a small subset of all markets, like a few key markets, in 4 languages, in 1 channel only. So that was the website only. It's been, I would say, a thrilling ride since, seeing it expand from that sort of footprint to where we're at today, covering more use cases, markets, languages, channels, but also expanding into other brands and division within Husqvarna Group. You, Jonas, as you said, you joined this collaboration and new role in 2021. What sort of macro changes or sort of context would you give the audience here?
Well, yeah, during these last couple of years, we have made a transition from being only business to business to also doing business to consumer. What happened was that we, as many other consumer goods companies, identified a mega trend where end users expected to get in direct contact with us as a manufacturer, not anymore only to the dealer or to the retailer where they purchase the product. At approximately the same time, we started introducing more and more digitalization in our products. And honestly, we struggled in helping our dealers to keep up with all the changes, all the rapid changes that we suddenly introduced in our products. So we decided to welcome end users to reach out to us, and we help and support. So we did this both by partner up with external service centers, where end users are welcome to call us or send us email or chat with us. And we also made a big a big overhaul, a relaunch of our online self-service offering, where Mavenoid is now a key pillar in that offering.
Exactly. And would you say it's sort of those two big things, so both the expectations from the customers around the globe, but then also the shift of Husqvarna as a group selling more and more to consumers. So those sort of perfect storm at the same time sort of things happen. And then the need for self-service within the group obviously grew or almost exploded. Nice. And out of your perspective, what sort of are the main product support challenges that Mavenoid helps Husqvarna to overcome today, here and now?
I would say what helps us most from Mavenoid is the classic troubleshooting when our products, for one or another reason, doesn't behave the way that a customer expected. That has been really a great advantage. Also, when we now see how much this helps, it also allows our internal service centers to focus more on the business to business relationship, meaning that we are now much more available for our dealers so that also they can success in their more advanced troubleshooting or hands-on troubleshooting. It also helps a lot with the seasonality. Working with forest and garden equipment as we do, it has a high seasonality effect, and that also balance out now very well when so much can be done by the customers on their own, thanks to Mavenoid.
Yeah. And I remember this, I think we have a good example that I feel okay with sharing, and it was around, for one example was around a pin code. Because I think like earlier on, it was a bit hard to find, just how to find your actual pin code for the robotic mower. And we sort of picking this up through the inputs from the end users from around the globe. And then quickly you guys and us could adjust to that and add a bit of support and content around that. So more end users could, do that on their own, which I think is a cool example of how you sort of can pick something up when you have all these sort of channels to speak to end users through, that otherwise might end up in a forum somewhere where you might not, get these insights. It's a pretty cool example. And could you mention a little bit where and sort of how your customers meet Mavenoid today?
It's mainly 3 channels, I would say. It's our website, husqvarna.com. We have a widget where Mavenoid can be accessed. We have also piloted on a few markets only in our dealer portal, where our 20,000 authorized Husqvarna dealers work on a daily basis. Also there, we are now testing on a few markets. But the biggest one, that is when we activated also directly in our smartphone app, Automower Connect. So for our robotic lawnmower users, many of them are using a smartphone app for controlling and handling settings, etc. in the mower. There you can nowadays also directly access Mavenoid, and that is nowadays our biggest traffic coming from there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about this time of the year here in the northern part of Europe where we're starting to see this influx from everyone taking their robotic lawnmowers out of the shed and sort of start putting into use. So busy season, I guess, for that channel. Last year we did launch a pretty cool new feature. We sort of internally refer to sort of pre-fill or AMC pre-fill or Automower Connect pre-fill. Could you mention just a little bit of how that works?
Yeah, from one of the benefits with a digitalized product such as robotic mower is that we in the app we know very much already about the specific product that the customer is using, and that in combination with when something happens with the mower, it presents an information message, what has happened. And what we did was that we selected the top 20 most frequent messages and created a direct link from that notification message to Mavenoid and to that specific troubleshooting lead or tree in Mavenoid. So when the error message now is displayed in the app, there is an opportunity for the customer to ask for advice what to do, and by clicking a button that takes them directly for specific troubleshooting from that. The results has been tremendous. The happiness index, the customer feedback that we measure, has really peaked since we did that and implement this. And I think that's because now we are there, we are available when the customer is in need of help, where the customer expects to be helped.
Yeah. And me personally, I love this notion of sort of you get this error notification, you understand that something has gone wrong, and you sort of instantly are able to get funneled into the right spot on sort of how to resolve it yourself or sort of how to move forward with it. And I think that, I guess it's as proactive as you can get in a non-proactive error message. Cool stuff, big stuff for last year. Then I would love to hear and share, have you share a little bit about how you and your team work with Mavenoid on a sort of daily basis?
Yeah, in our customer care team, we have a few different roles, and we are also thereby using the Mavenoid in different ways. Personally, I love the analytics dashboard that you guys provide for us, where we can track and trace very well how well the support delivers. What is the performance? Where are the gaps? What is the customer feedback on our different product categories and even specific error messages, etc. That I use as a prioritization for what we should focus on in short term, but also long term. What should we add as our next product category to be supported? Where should we invest our forces, etc. And the communicators in our team that are working on the super important content, they are using the content creation part of the dashboard, building up these trees, building up the text, linguistic, correct, easy to understand for the customers. They populate with videos and photos and etc. And lately, we have also onboarded our translation agency into Mavenoid dashboard, and that is for them to be able to do as good translation as possible. We now have given them a read-only access. So connected to each English master string that they should translate, there is also a deep link that they can click, which take them to that specific view of the product assistant, where they can then see not only the text string, but also if we have photos and videos, they can also see that bigger context, which we have received very positive feedback from our translations on.
Yeah, it's a neat functionality. Typically in translation, I know that like knowing the context of each string or key can be really hard. So then having this direct link is very useful. And I do love that you sort of love the analytics side of things. I think there's so much time and effort to be spared on taking like an impact-driven approach on these type of things. So, you know, you could start trying to build content and support for all the type of issues and all these type of things and products. But if you have some sort of channel, a direct channel to the end users, and you can get these insights, what typical, for example, issues with this specific product is, then you can start looking at those and really spend time on those. And I think that's really a key to increase over time customer satisfaction in these platforms. Cool. And a happy note here, as I spoke to one of the former communicators within your team, and she actually mentioned that she sort of missed working in the canvas, as we refer to it, sort of drawing these lines between the different nodes and all this. So apparently a bit therapeutical. No, that's not the word. Therapeutical. That's the word. But cool. Thanks for sharing, Jonas. Could you talk a little bit about how you go about expanding and improving self-service in Mavenoid?
Yeah, what has happened is that now when we have been launching on more and more markets, the product assistant in more and more languages. And what happens now is that more and more of our sales companies around the globe are now contacting me and asking, when can you launch it also on our market, in our specific language? So that is one dimension that we are working in, adding more languages, being able to launch on more of our Husqvarna markets. Another improvement we are now exploring is to improve the customer journey, as we already have this external service partner with email and contact forms of opportunities, and also live chat opportunities. We would like now to see if we can make that journey easier for the customer, for the areas where we have yet not been able to prioritize adding content in Mavenoid. How can we then easily and smoothly help the customer to get in contact with our external service partner, filling out the contact form, transfer from this product assistant into a live chat experience, etc. So that's what we're working on now, short term.
And I guess like there's a nice, almost basic stuff there, right? When it comes down to as you go from sort of self-service into a human-based service, that just having these sort of simple triage questions, almost like the doctor, asking you a few questions to sort of help diagnose the issue or the problem. It's basic, but it obviously makes the whole process a lot more effective. First question back to the customer isn't, which model are you running, or what issue have you observed, and all this. It's sort of covered in that first request. So I think it's basic but really powerful stuff. Cool. And now, sort of, could you talk a little bit about sort of the results that you've seen, or Husqvarna have seen with Mavenoid?
Well, I must admit that meeting expectations from when we started this partnership, that would be not enough to say. It has delivered beyond expectations, I would say. Looking at the numbers of how many customers that are in asking for help, has increased more and more, and honestly I don't know how we would be able to handle it without such a tool as you provide for us in our old setup. That would have, I don't even want to think about it. Also the growth in terms of countries and markets has also been something that I think you have been very flexible on meeting, and that has been easier than I expected, how to launch on new markets. And I mentioned the amount of conversations is growing, but for me that is worth nothing if it wouldn't be for that we also have maintained and even increased the happiness index, the customer feedback. So growing the amount of conversation, at the same time maintaining and even increase the customer satisfaction, that is something I think we should all be very proud of.
Yeah, I think that I think it speaks to this sort of product experience sort of journey, where you buy the product, you sort of enjoy it, but it's sort of more things around the physical product that makes up the full product experience. And obviously, I think you guys are doing something right, where the satisfaction is going up, even though you're selling more and more of these products. So that's really cool. And I assume also, probably a no-brainer, but with this expansion, obviously, if there was to be an old in-house call center, obviously that would have grown almost probably linear by now. So also cool to obviously to be supportive of the cost savings that we can do. Cool. So looking ahead, I'd love to just tap into, like, how do you see and sort of see the partnership evolve a little bit, and sort of what gets you most excited about the future?
Well, it's a good question, Johan, and I personally, I look forward to continue being surprised of how well it works for our customers. You have surprised me many times already during these 2 years, and that is something I hope and challenge you to continue do for me. And I think also as we are now only so to say on the easy basic questions level with our content, once we get more and more into deeper and deeper, more advanced, troubleshooting, for example, when Right to Repair Act, when that is also challenge us more, I think that is when that is something I hope that we will see then even more of Mavenoid's strength when it comes to these advanced troubleshooting. And to be successful in this, I think that what we should do is being consistent in what we are already doing, having this tight and close and high frequent communication, and continue challenge each other as I think we do very well today, where we ask ourselves, how can we help you being successful?
Yeah.
So that is something I look forward to continue.
Yeah, and I can only echoing that to be honest. I know when we started out, we were a young company, and I guess the challenges that came in from you guys obviously helped us grow as a company, as a platform, to something where we are today. So I think again, like coming back to you guys were with us from the start and have helped us transition and form into what we are offering and sort of doing today. So also excited to keep that up. And coming back to the Right to Repair, I think that also obviously can be a major shift in the amount of just, for example, a deeper troubleshooting and knowledge that needs to be able to be shared to the end consumers from the brands. So I think that will be a big change, a big trend once that takes more pace. Cool. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that, Jonas. We do have some time left, and I thought we'll take some time to answer a few of the questions that come in. So let me see if I can bring that part up here on my screen. Let me see here. All right. So this would be to you, Jonas, I believe, or I give you a first shot at least. So could you talk a little bit about implementation and how long it took or take, and what was your experience of it? I know you weren't there from the start, right, Jonas, but you speak to that.
Yeah, the implementation, I would divide it in 2 different phases, where the first phase were for us at Husqvarna to explore and discover who should be our partner in this, and that we meaning my colleagues in the IT department and our sourcing team, etc., were doing for several months. But once we have decided, yes, let's go with Mavenoid, then I think it was just like 8 to 10 weeks or so implementation.
Yeah, exactly. 8 weeks, I think it was.
where we started by sending you I think it was thousands of emails we had in our support mailbox, etc. And you started building up in the canvas, something from that. And then we partnered up with some of our, at that time, internal service agents, and then we launched it.
Exactly. I remember I was there as well. So I remember it was still these 8 weeks from the sign off, a kickoff, to the launch, and that was back then. Obviously, that's about 4 years from by now, and I think the way we go about it has changed a little bit. But similarly, we typically take this sort of again impact-driven approach to implementing. So we wouldn't start by building content within Mavenoid to try and sort of capture everything about every product. So again, we would look at, for example, historical tickets to see, what are the main products that requests come in about, and what are those sort of top requests about, and we start to do those really well. So that's sort of on the content part. Then typically, if you come into sort of implementing Mavenoid, we will also do this integration bit. So we will do like a front end or channel integration where we put the widget or the assistant into your website, into an app or whatever that could be. But then we typically also do this sort of back-end integration. That could be typical ticket integration to CRM systems. It could be if there's any sort of CMS system they want to pull knowledge base articles out from, and so forth. So there's a few things, and I know actually one of the last customers I sort of went from 0 to 1 with. I think it was about let me see now. I say honestly correctly, so it was about 3.5 weeks. So with a better platform than sort of 4 years ago, and sort of more knowledge and experience of this, we can do this typical first launch really quickly, which is obviously a key to start getting insights, but also obviously come to a start of the ROI calculation in getting and deflecting issues. So thanks for that question. Let me see what else we have. Do you have any advice for support teams that are about to launch Mavenoid? Jonas?
Well, yeah, I have received that question before, also from my network of me partner up with other after sales managers and similar. So what I used to say is, don't wait, just launch it. If it would have been me in charge at that time, I would probably not have launched after only 8 weeks. I would probably fine-tuning and secure and quality assurance and correcting spelling mistakes and a lot of things. But I'm glad that my manager was more bold in actually launching, and from there learning. So that is one advice. Just do it, launch and learn, and be prepared for fine-tuning as you get this very good feedback from customers on the performance. Another advice is based on experience with the other 3 divisions we have in Husqvarna Group, is that in my division, we are the only ones that have dedicated communicators working full-time on the content. And I think that has been a reason why we are today a little bit ahead of our brothers and sisters in the other divisions when it comes to the customer feedback rate. So having people available for act quickly on the feedback that you get from customers, and also having the skills and mindset of how presenting technically advanced things in an easy to understand way.
Yeah, I think that you guys do exceptionally well when it comes to, I think, breaking down like a advanced robotic lawnmower into something that sort of I would understand and my neighbor would understand, and probably my mom as well. So I think that's key. And also coming back to, you guys took this sort of impact-driven approach, which I think definitely is key to continuously drive this satisfaction upwards. Cool. Let me see. So a bit more detailed question here, and I think it's for you, Jonas. The total deflections that you've saved from a sort of R&I perspective, how many FTEs have you saved, or can you speak on this? Might be a bit detailed question, but
yeah, and the short answer is no, I cannot, and that is not only it's not because I don't want to, but because we did so many things at the same time. So we made this transition from business to business only to also do business to consumer. We onboarded this external service partner center. So we have so far seen it as an investment, not a cost reduction project. The online self-service we do to meet our customers' expectations on support. Being in just one concrete example, before we had this online self-service, our end users were totally depending on our authorized dealers' opening hours. Now we said that is not no longer enough. We want to be available 24/7. So it's more about for us. It has been more an investment in customer experience, not a cost saving.
And that's not to be neglected, right? It's like I think from my point of view of the world, definitely like the product experience bit is where you can see sort of this sustainable growth, where you don't have to, spend money through, social and other marketing to continue to sell more and more lawnmowers. It comes down to like everyone who has these products loves them, and they would happily recommend to their friends or neighbors to buy the same. So I think it's a good bet that you guys are doing. So here's another one for you, Jonas. So what has your experience been working with me at Mavenoid and the broader Mavenoid team as well, of course?
It has been very positive, and the reason for it is first of all that we have had a very close and tight dialogue. We have had this challenging of each other, as I mentioned earlier, where you want sometimes challenge me to provide more data, to have a better structure in our internal Husqvarna data, that we should give you access to more data. And sometimes I challenge you to meet new challenges and new customer experience expectations we have identified from our end, and then that way of working. And also for me, it has been very important that you have had this understanding of product support, hardware product support. What is in it? What is the challenges with it? What is the keys to make customers happy? For me, having a background for 20 years working with after sales and technical support, it's so great to have a partner like you, that we are talking the same language, we understand each other. That has also made our collaborations so easygoing, I would say.
I appreciate it. And I think there's something in there, right? Maybe as a company being very focused on this hardware support, not price support or customer support as a whole. I think that's really helped us to focus or laser focus on these sort of unique challenges that sort of is within this realm. And I hope that's sort of, I guess, part of the success. That's good. Let's see. And I think that's it. Thanks for those questions. And if nothing further, again, Jonas, thank you so much for taking your time and doing this webinar with myself. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to continue working with you. Excellent. And to all the audience, have a good rest of your day. See ya.